Hi everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm creating this cute pink trailer home for Strangerville, and I wasn't planning on doing another Strangerville build so soon, but I was really in the mood to just create something quick, and I remember there was this really cool lot that was situated in the middle of a trailer park, so I just wanted to create something for it, although with this build, I wasn't really trying to go for a super Strangerville specific theme. So I'm not creating a grungy conspiracy theorist type trailer home. This is definitely more of a cutesy build, which was really fun because generally I don't do super cutesy builds like this trailer home was pink. I don't believe I've ever used this pink siding before, which was why I wanted to use this, because I just wanted to do something that was a little out of my comfort zone, something that I hadn't really done before with it, and I just had a lot of fun with this build in general. And I was imagining that this belonged to maybe an elderly couple or just a single elderly sim. It's definitely something that's more so for an elder sim because on the inside I used a lot of more dated furniture. I added a lot of clutter throughout it that I imagine they had accumulated throughout the years, and just dated decorations in general. So that's definitely who I saw this build being for, although I did kind of have this idea in mind, like this backstory in mind that was kind of tied in Strangerville, like where I was imagining that this could be the home of just this grandmother who looks all sweet and innocent, but secretly she's bugging people and spying on them. And I was gonna put in a listening device to go with that, but I decided not to because I figured for a build this small, it would be a lot more practical to just put a computer in instead. But if that's an idea that you want to go with, then you could always replace a computer, add it in with a listening device. But yeah, I just thought that would be better for something that I was going to upload. But yeah, I just find the idea of the sweet grandma just bugging people and blackmailing them and making money off of that kind of funny. And I think that'd just be kind of a cool gameplay idea in general, because you can use the listening device outside of the Strangerville story. So you can just bug people and sell the evidence to the curio stall, or I think maybe you can sell it other ways too, or you could just blackmail the people. So, another idea is that you could just play as a detective sim who's kind of corrupt and blackmails people. I don't know. Those are just some ideas I had. I probably won't do any of those, but just fun ideas you could do with the listening device that came with Strangerville. But for the landscaping, I took inspiration from the trailer home that was originally here, and also what you see in front of the fake trailer homes around this lot, and I just added in a bunch of bright green grass in front of the house because I really liked how that looked, and I was imagining that it was just fake astroturf that they put down just to make things feel a little nicer, because around the house there's just, of course, a bunch of just dusty sand. So this certainly makes things feel a lot nicer, and it also just adds a lot more colors to the lot. I think it also looks really nice with pink siding, and here I'm just adding in a bunch of flowers next to the flower arranging station because I was imagining that the Sims who live here are really into gardening, they're really into plants, so they make their own flower arrangements, they have a little space right here for some gardening, and then inside I also added a bunch of plants, and then you of course have these planter boxes beneath some of the windows. So I just really like how this yard looks. I mean, it's definitely simple, like it took me not very, like it didn't take me very long to do the landscaping, but I just really like how it turned out. And then we got the clothes drying line out here in a wash tub because there wasn't really enough space to put a washer and dryer inside. I just kind of saw them as being people who maybe would be a little more environmentally conscious and would want to just wash their clothes that way. And then I also found this picnic bench that I believe was from City Living that I don't think I've ever used before, but I felt like the swatches on it just kind of fit this quirky look that I was going for with the outside of this house. So I'm just really happy with how everything came together. And I also used this picket fence that came in Strangerville, which looks really nice as well. I was really glad that we got that because I've been wanting another shorter picket fence because we got one with, I think, toddler stuff, but that one, I don't know, it's not as, like, this is more so like your average, like, typical picket fence, I feel, than what that one was. Like, that one was a little bit more childish, of course, because it did come with a toddler pack. It had a white swatch, I think, and maybe a brown and black swatch, but apart from that, it was just a lot of brighter colors. So it was just nice to have another fence kind of like that came in more useful swatches. I also added some other fun stuff to the outside of the house, like that gnome that's riding Flamingo. I've always thought that was a really cute decoration, but I keep forgetting to use it. And I think I added another gnome or two. I just feel like those really went with the vibe I was going for this house. And this house also feels like something I could see being in Florida for some reason. I think it's because of the pink wallpaper. Like, it just feels like something I could imagine an elderly couple in Florida living in, although I know, the surroundings of Strangerville definitely are nothing like Florida, but still, it just kind of gives me a little bit of that feel. And I feel like this also has maybe a slightly 50s-esque vibe to me. Like, I added in that retro-looking grill that came with toddler stuff, which is another thing I rarely use. So I think between that and just like the pink siding that's on this and the bright green grass, it definitely gives me that sort of feel. So I was imagining that this was a trailer home that has been sitting here for a while. And I was also imagining that the people who live here maybe don't have the most money. So as you'll see, once I start furnishing it, I of course had a lot of older stuff in here. Like, some of the items that are on the inside are a little bit run down. I also stuck some of those wall, like the wall decorations that look like missing wallpaper and that sort of a thing. I didn't add a ton in because I wasn't trying to make this look completely dilapidated, but I just added a few in here and there to kind of go with the idea that, maybe some things have started to fall apart here over the years, but they haven't really been quick to repair them. Because sometimes it happens where someone will leave a window open and it'll leak and there might be some water damage and maybe you don't get to it right away because you have other things that are more important, or, you accidentally put a hole into the wall and you don't really fix that right. That kind of thing happens sometimes. So that's mainly what I was going for with that. But right now I am furnishing, or just finished up furnishing this little screened in porch type area. I just thought this would be a really cute area to add on to this. So we just have some chairs, some couches, and then I added that decoration from backyard stuff that just looks like a ladder with some potted plants on it. And I also added an easel out there because I was trying to figure out what to do to fill in that space, and I just thought that would be a really nice thing to add in, because I could have just imagined them going out there and painting while they're looking at the surroundings. I mean, they're probably just looking at their neighbors' trailer homes while painting, so maybe not the most inspirational thing to look at, but they've at least got a view of their yard, which is very nice. So I figured that could be something to give them a little inspiration. And I did stick a can of paint right underneath the easel. But I did play test this a lot, and I realized that the easel didn't work when I had that there, so I did go ahead and delete that, because I did play test this whole lot, because some things were kind of tightly packed together, and I just wanted to make sure that everything was functional before I uploaded, and fortunately everything was. So the paint can was the only thing I really had to get rid of to make this place fully functional. I also used the same floral wallpaper throughout this whole build in one form or another. I was going to try to do different wallpapers in some of the rooms, but I just really liked how this one looks, and it has a bunch of different trim options for it. Like, there were some versions of this that had none of the chair rail and paneling underneath it. Like, it was just a wallpaper with molding, with baseboard molding, and that was it. So I just kind of combined those different types of wallpapers that had the same pattern, just so it didn't feel like the same thing in each room, but it just felt like it went together. And I just really like how this looks. Like I said, it just kind of goes with that whole idea I had of this being a house that was maybe built in the 50s, so they just have this really dated wallpaper all over the place. And I like that it has a little bit of pink on it to tie in with the outside of the house without being overwhelmingly pink, because I didn't really want to make everything in here pink. Although I was trying to add some pops of color here and there on the inside just to kind of go with how the outside of the house was. Although the inside definitely is not quite as colorful as the outside was, but I still really like how it turned out. And as I said, I just added a whole bunch of clutter in here, and I'm furnishing the desk right now, so I just used this one that came with base game that has a bunch of books and such around it, because I just thought that went with the idea that this was something that they have for a very long time. They've accumulated a lot of clutter on it. But even though I was trying to go with this dated feel, I still wanted to keep things in this house feeling fairly bright, because I feel like sometimes, like when I make builds that are dated, I have a tendency to do old dark woods and things end up looking a lot more dark. So I just didn't want that to happen with this one, because I didn't want it to be too different from the feel of the outside of the house. So that's why I used the white trim or the white paneling on this wallpaper, just to kind of help brighten up some. And then I also didn't use the darkest swatch of this flooring, so I used a slightly brighter one than what I did on the screen and patio. So I think that helped with this place not feeling too dark, but at the same time having this older feeling to it. But we are done with the living area, so now I'm onto the kitchen. So I just stuck this grungy, like this kind of gross tile that came with StrangerVille in here. I wasn't gonna use that originally, but when I put it down, I felt like it just went really well with this wallpaper. And my original plan was to also use some kind of different tiling behind the counters, but I don't know, I couldn't really find a tile that I felt looked good in here, so I just stuck with the wallpaper all around. And since the kitchen is so small, it does of course double as a dining area. So over here on this side, we just have this little, just a set of, 2 chairs and a table. I figure since, we're only gonna have 1 or 2, since this is a house for only 1 or 2 Sims, you don't really need a whole full-on dining chair, and that 2 chairs were just enough. So I'm just adding in some curtains. So I did, of course, clutter up this kitchen a whole bunch, and after I finished it, the last thing I did was that I changed the stove and refrigerator to be that mint green color that they come in, because I feel like this kitchen was just lacking color a little bit, and I just wanted to, as I said before, I just wanted to make the kitchen or just the inside feel like it tied in with the outside a little bit more and had more of those pops of color that you see on the outside. So I felt like just doing that really helped to brighten things up a lot, and plus I didn't want this to be a super matchy house anyway. I just wanted to feel like kind of mismatched, like they just got what they could, and maybe they got those appliances back when having color appliances were cool, because I know back in the 60s and maybe 70s, it was pretty in to have appliances that weren't your typical colors, like having yellow appliances or Pepto-Bismol pink appliances or like bright green or like mint green type appliances. So I just thought that kind of went with that very well and just brighten up the kitchen a lot more than having those boring yellow ones in here too, because I think this is something I've mentioned in videos in the past, but when until I was 10, I did live in a 1960s rancher, and I remember the kitchen had a yellow refrigerator and stove originally, because I just remember thinking that was such a weird thing. And even though it was the 90s at the time, we still had those 60s colored appliances for a while, although the refrigerator eventually went up, so we had to get a new modern white refrigerator because that was the in color at the time. That's before stainless steel and black appliances were really a big thing. And that house also had Pepto-Bismol pink showers, and like the hall bathroom had a Pepto-Bismol pink colored sink and shower, which I actually thought was really cool. And my mom said apparently whenever my stomach hurt, I said that I felt like the pink sink because it was the exact color of Pepto-Bismol, and that's what I would have whenever my stomach hurt me a little bit. So I think I associated the sink with my stomach hurting. And then in my parents' bathroom, it had just blue toilet, blue sink, blue shower. So I don't know, I always found that kind of cool. Although that's definitely not something I would do in my own house, but I don't know, it's just kind of cool to be able to just see those things that were installed from the past. But we are onto the bathroom now. It took me a little bit to get going on this because I put the sink down in that color, and I was thinking, maybe I need to add a little more color into here. So I was trying to swatch it with greenwood, but then it didn't really look good with everything else. So I just left it at that, so the bathroom is a little less colorful than the other rooms. Although I did add in that green shag rug in there, and then I also added a pink towel. So that kind of adds a little bit more color into there. But here in the bedroom, I was originally going to go for a pink bed, but I just wasn't really feeling how that looked. And plus also a lot of the pink beds that I liked the most were really expensive. Like one I was going to use was over 10,000 simoleons, which I felt was way too much for this build because I was kind of going with the idea that the Sims who live here don't have a ton of money. So yeah, I just didn't want to jack up the price that much with that, although this did end up costing around 50,000 simoleons, so it's not really the cheapest build, but it's not the most expensive build that I've done. It's not too bad, I suppose, although I definitely could have gone cheaper with it, but I just really wanted to have this cluttered and lived-in feel. But in the end, I went with this mint green bed with cats and dogs, which I feel goes really well with the wallpaper. And I did play test this whole bedroom because I was a little bit worried about things not working due to how packed in it is. And your Sims are able to get into the bed from both sides, so no worries about that. You can have 2 Sims sleep in here, no problem. The only problem is they can't use the dresser, but I figured that wasn't that big of a deal because you can do everything you could do with the dresser with a mirror, and you've got 2 other mirrors in this room, so I just felt like that wasn't really a huge problem, so I just didn't really bother with fixing that. But we're almost at the end of the building part of the video, so as usual, if you want to download this, there will be a link to do so in the description. There will also be other stuff in there, how to find the endgame, and that's going to be all from me, so hope you enjoy the rest of the video.